All right, welcome everybody. It's going to be a recap for this Thursday, last day of the month, August 31st, 2023. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this real quick because I didn't have any indices that I traded today except this one, which was the mini Russell. And I put this on at the end of the day. Came in after 3 o'clock Eastern time. I am still in it, so I am still short. And I do have a target of $18.99. I do have a resting order to get out if it does come down to $18.99. And have a big stop here, which would also be a reversal at 1914. All right? So, once again, I want to explain to people about stops. Once again, I hear this a lot. Stops are too big. Well, you know, we've done a lot of studying with stops, and what we found, this is going back to the 80s. We took a lot of, quote, systems, right? And we analyzed all of them. What we found is that it wasn't using tighter stops that made it more profitable. It was using bigger stops. So let's explain that, all right? Because a lot of people, they like to go for, they say, well, you should have 2 to 1. You know, you should make $2 and lose $1, or win $3 to lose $1. Well, here's the problem with that they don't think. I mean, it sounds great. You know, logically it makes sense, but the problem is that if you have that kind of volatility, what's going to happen is that if you have volatility large enough to where you can do a 3 to 1 loss ratio, problem is that that stop's going to be too tight. All right, so you're going to get caught in. You're going to be losing a lot of those dollars, right? Very seldom are you going to catch the $3 moves. You may get up to maybe 2.5, then all of a sudden it comes down and hits your stop. And so that's what people don't consider. So the best traders in the world, all right, couple things, is that they do have entries. Entries are real important, okay? But when it comes to exiting is going to be more subjective. I don't know, people don't want to hear that. But if you want to be a successful trader, watch successful traders how they trade. They watch the market. Let the market tell you where to get out, all right? The idea is that we want to go with the flow. We're not trying to pick tops and bottoms. You know, all the gurus out there are trying to do that. It doesn't work. Just go with the flow of the market. Make it simple. If it's going up and you have a indication of a pattern saying to buy it, then you buy it, and then let the market tell you where to get out, all right? Don't get into this head game of, oh gosh, you know, my stop's too big. Well, if you're going for bigger profits, your stops are going to have to be larger. If you want to jump in and jump out and jump in and jump out, you can do that, but most people are going to end up not having big enough profits, and they're going to keep taking losses every time the market goes against them, okay? I've seen this happen over and over again. So for my 40 years of experience and knowing a lot of traders that do this for a living, when they get in, all right, they know enough about the market and watching the action and watching the flow of the orders coming in and watching the volatility and everything else, you get a real good feel of whether the market's going to continue in your direction or whether it's going to start coming down. And sometimes you have to give it some breathing room. You can be right, okay? Sometimes you want to give it some breathing room, and the market needs breathing room, and that's where a lot of people get stuck and they get knocked out. And the big players know that, and they're just going to wash them out because they have the money to hold on to it, and before it starts to come around. Now, that doesn't mean holding on to a losing trade all the time. You've got to watch the market. The market will tell you where to get out, all right? And that's going to take time. What I do is the tools that I've developed are very, very good in terms of the entries and hitting their targets. I have very high probabilities of hitting my targets, all right? But at the same time, I'm still watching my stops. I'm not coming in, and I'm not, unless I'm trading like an index or something, may go ahead and put in some stops like you see here on the mini Russell. But in most cases, I really like to let the market tell me whether I should just go ahead and get out and not wait for it to come up to a certain level, or I should go ahead and just continue to ride it. So once again, folks, this is not a black and white business. All right, I hear that everybody's trying to make it black and white. New traders are always looking for some sort of mechanical approach to trading. If you do, you're going to lose. If there's somebody selling you something like that, it's going to lose. All right, so that's my experience, and that's what I've seen in my last 40 years. So don't make trading mechanical. All right, you want your good entries, you want a good reason for getting in, you want high probabilities. All right, you want something that's going to give you high probabilities of getting into a trade. You've got to know your probabilities, not just because it crossed over some sort of line or you had a divergence or you had this or that. All right, you need to back that up with statistics and be able to see that, yeah, this makes sense. And you have the history to show that typically when this event happens, you have, X over, over 70% or whatever the case may be, that it's going to be a winning trade. All right, so that's what you're looking for. But once again, be flexible on your stops. Once you start doing that, most people are going to start having a lot more success. All right, so anyway, that's my carryover trade. And let's take a look and see how we did on the stocks. Actually, we had a pretty good day in the stocks today. So I'm going to go over a few that we traded this morning, and then one that I caught at the very end of the day, and everything else was just kind of taking little bites out of the market. So let's see how we did. All right, so a couple things we put on this morning. First trade was TSHA. And it really ended up doing nothing. It just kind of dried up. I did hold it for a while, only because I wasn't heavily committed on it. And I still think TSHA is going to be a good play, but when it died here and I saw the volume drying up and I didn't see a whole lot of interest anymore on the buy side, I went ahead and got out. Once again, this was a discretionary exit. Okay, so I went ahead and exit. I took a loss on TSHA. Also bought AMC. AMC came in about 10 minutes later. So let's take a look at the AMC trade. Let's see how I traded that. All right, so here's a situation where I held on a little bit too long, but I still was able to make a little bit on AMC. So bought into AMC. This particular case came in as an HF1 buy. You know I like HF1 buys. I had 3 levels up here. I did not get out. I could have gotten out at any one of these levels. It did hit my levels. I held on a little bit too long. Once it started going through my entry, I went ahead and I exited, hoping that I would get another buy, and I did. I actually ended up getting a pairing buy that came in about an hour or so later. This was a pairing pattern buy, okay? So keep in mind that when this pairing pattern buy came in, it generated at the same time new levels, all right? So we had new levels. As you can see, we surpassed these 2 first levels. I had 2 more sitting up here. Once it hit this second level this time, a little bit smarter this time, went ahead and got out that second level. Ended up covering not only my loss, the small loss I'd had my initial trade, but ended up making a nice little profit on AMC. So once again, this is a situation to where, I really should have gotten out, after it hits 2 or 3 levels, and I really didn't have anything above it. I should have been paying more attention, got out of that AMC trade, and I did not. So, if a lot of people that traded this, had one guy in the room, he did really well with this, because once it penetrated that 3rd level, he went and he got out of it. It's like, Ken, what are you still in it? It's like, I don't know. It was a stupid mistake. I was thinking that this thing was going to be one of those that right after the opening, this thing was going to take off, but didn't even get to the opening before it started failing on me. And then right after the opening, it started collapsing. That's why I got out. I was really hoping that we would see a much bigger bounce, and it didn't happen. But luckily enough, I was able to get a nice little pairing pattern buy down here and make a little bit of money on AMC. But the big trade was, let's look at that. All right, so all you day traders out there that were watching the market, the big one was ADTX. Look what ADTX did. ADTX wasn't even on my radar this morning. I wasn't even watching it until later on in the afternoon. But look what happened here. This thing went from, $10? Yeah, this thing went from $10, $10.50, all the way up to $67. Look at that, 68, actually $68. What a heck of a move, all right? So where did I end up getting in? I ended up getting in here, And this trade came in right before 3 o'clock. Ended up buying it, got a buy-in at 30. Now, a couple things here. What happened here? You had this big flush, right? And it halted again. But I was telling somebody, he says, "Are you getting in?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to get in because I like these gaps. I like watching these gaps." And we still had buying interest in there. All right, they're just flushing everybody out. So I went ahead and I bought it at 30 within the same minute. Okay, I bought this at 33. It was a pairing pattern buy. I went ahead, entered again in the same minute now, guys, at 33. It already moved up $3. I mean, $3.50. So this is, you look at this, say, wow, that doesn't look like a big move. From there to there, that's a $3 move right there. All right. And so I did have some levels up here. Once it started penetrating, it looks like it was going to start filling up. I said, you know what? I've got a great profit here. I'm going to go ahead and get out. I went ahead and I exited right here. Yes, you can say, well, Ken, you left a lot on the table. I did. All right. But because of these halts, I had a nice little profit. I'm not looking to be a hero. I made my money. I went ahead and got out. Yes, you could have traded even further. Yes, it finally, after hours, went up and took, let's see, where did it go up to? This thing went up to like 80. This thing went up to like 83. Yeah, 83 and a half. I mean, just went crazy. But you know what? I had a beautiful day, so let's take a look and see how I did overall. This was the biggie, guys. ADTX. That little move right there, over $4,000. There's my TSHA. First trade of the day, wasn't going anywhere. AMC, you can see I was able to recover, make a little bit on that. Everything else, JDST has been on my radar for a long time. I went ahead and got out of that towards the end of the day. LFVN, I was telling somebody about LFVN this afternoon. Didn't have a whole lot of volume. I said, well, you know what? It looks like this thing's going to go. Go ahead and take. I know the spread is not real great right now. It was like a 5 or 6 cents difference on the spread between the bid and the ask. I was willing to take that, and I did. And then I had a nice little target, and I basically put a resting order up there. I said, just be patient. It's going to come up. And sure enough, toward the end of the day, it finally started taking off. LFVN ended up just being a beautiful trade. So once I get in, I put a little resting order up there. That was my target, and in this case, I wasn't going to play it out any further like I would do it in the morning. Because typically in the morning, you can have those really parabolic moves, something like this, which is kind of unusual because this came like in the middle of the day. But we see a lot of these in the morning, and so I really don't like to see if it can get through my targets and then maybe hold on to a little bit and then get out. In the afternoon, kind of a different game. I like to, if I'm scalping, I look for that first target, just get in, put a little resting order up there to get out. If it doesn't hit the resting order, I'll look at seeing whether I just want to go ahead and get out and take a win, or maybe hold it a little bit longer. Maybe I can play it, after hours and maybe make a little bit of money on it. But in most of these cases in the afternoon, VN was one of those trades where I just put in my little stop and got the heck out of it. And everything's were just pretty scalped, just little scalps. So anyway, what a great day overall. Once again, I am coming in, I'm coming in short on that mini Russell. So coming in short on the mini Russell. And let's see here. What else? That should do it. That's about it. So anyway, good day. So, Thursdays, I'm going to be trading tonight with our group. I'm going to be looking at Forex, trading a little bit of Forex tonight. I love Thursday nights. Thursdays can be really good for the currency. So we'll be in our room tonight trading as well. So I'm one of the few rooms that's actually open during the day, and also we come in at night and do a little bit of trading. This is my life, folks. This is what I do. So yeah, I spend a lot of time trading, and I like trading the Forex market, like trading the currencies at night. So anyway, we'll be here doing a little bit of that. Usually Thursday nights are really good. And then we'll just see what the action looks like tomorrow. Like I said, you got this holiday coming up, Labor Day this weekend. Man, it could, you know what? Here's what I think is going to happen. You're probably going to have maybe just a few that move first thing in the morning, and then it's going to be dead for the rest of the day. So maybe we can get lucky, catch a little bit of pre-market action, maybe hold on some of those, maybe catch a little burst right after the opening, and then get the heck out. Just not trying to be a hero. Let's maybe just go for that first level, and let's just take our profits. And if it runs, it runs. But it's going to be a tough call tomorrow. So I think if we held those targets hit, then I think instead of unlike what I did on AMC, just get in and get the heck out of it after it hit a target of 2. All right, folks, that's it. Any questions, you can reach me via my website, innovativetradingstrategies.com. Remember, I've been doing this for 40 years, so what I'm doing is I have my own approach to trading. It is unique. This is not a rehash of anybody else's work. This is my own approach to trading that I've developed over and refined over my last 36 years now, my 41 trading years. And it is unique. So no, this is not publicly available. I do not mass produce this. I do not sell this to a lot of people. So I do not advertise. All right. The idea here is being in this business for a long time. I just want to show everybody that, hey, there is a different way to trade. All right. And it doesn't have to be complicated. But we need to, I really want people to look at the markets a little bit differently. And I wrote a very good article back in the middle 80s talking about the holographic market. It was published. You can see that article on my website called The Holographic Market. Check it out. But let's start looking at the markets a little bit differently, and I think you guys will start having more success because you're not going to be doing what everybody else does. And what do we know about that? We know that 98% of the people lose money because 98% of the people are doing what everybody else does. So just use a little bit of logic. That's all I'm saying. Use a little bit of logic. Look at things a little bit differently. Try to trade a little bit differently. Don't be trying to do the same things everybody else is doing, playing head and shoulders and all that other kind of stuff. And, support and resistance. I mean, there's a better way to play this game than, and I'm not saying any that doesn't work. It's just a real tough game to play. I don't like playing against a bunch of people, all right? I like to be in and out where nobody else is, and that's I think is the best way to be a trader is be unique, come up with something different, have different entries and exits, and I think that's the key to long-term success. So anyway, that's it. We'll see everybody hopefully first thing in the morning. Everybody have a good night, and see you tomorrow.